With the Chapter 2 finale live event being tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, December 4th, if you're actually watching it on the day that it's going to be happening, I'm going to be making this video to give you guys some final preparations for what you should have on your settings, for what you should know going into this event. So let's actually dive right into the video. Now, to start it off, there's going to be two sections to this video, and we're going to do it as quickly as possible. However long it takes will actually be in the title. But basically, there are two separate parts to this video. Now, the first part that we're going to be going over is the settings. Now, there are some very specific settings that you're going to want to have turned on when this live event actually happens, because sometimes you'll actually turn them off just for the day-to-day playing of Fortnite, or maybe you'll have something too low and you actually want it boosted up for the live event. So let's actually dive into that portion of the video right now. Later, we'll actually get into the lore portion of the video, but for now, we're going to dive into the settings. Now, first off, in the settings, when you actually go ahead and open up your settings tab, you're actually going to get a bunch of different windows, as you guys all probably know. Obviously, your resolution is whatever you want it to be. Now, your colorblind mode, I would recommend to turn it off, but if you're used to playing on colorblind mode, then hey, keep it on, and obviously, if you're colorblind, then hey, of course, go ahead and turn that on. Now, for your graphics, a lot of people will tell you to put these as high as possible to get the smoothest looking quality out of the live event, but I'm here to tell you otherwise. You do not want to be lagging out your game when the event actually is happening. I typically play with all of my settings on the lowest setting, and that's what I'm going to be doing for the live event. You don't want your live event to crash your game just because you wanted to see it in really high quality, in that 4K crisp quality with the shadows. You want to make sure that you have these as low or as high as you need. Just for a bit of reference, if you don't know your graphics card, I have a GTX 1070 in my PC, and that's actually what I use when running Fortnite, and I still keep these on the lowest setting, even though that's a fairly decent graphics card. I haven't been able to upgrade solely due to the fact that Bitcoin mining has decided to skyrocket all of the graphics cards prices, so it's a little bit more difficult to get your hands on one of those as of the moment. But if you have a graphics card that's a 1070 or lower, I would recommend keeping these all on low. If you're in the 20 series or 30 series though, then I would actually recommend maybe turning it up to the medium settings, but hey, just keep it on whatever you play Fortnite on, because honestly, it's gonna look amazing no matter what. Now, as we go down to the lower section, I actually do have the beta DirectX 12 turned on. If you have performance mode turned on, this is the one setting that I would change. Performance mode makes the game look really weird, and I think that there may be some bugs with it during the live event, just due to the fact that there's some bugs with it in the base game mode. Now, if you have performance mode on during the live event, does that mean you're not going to be able to get the full experience? No, you're still going to get the entire experience. It's just that it'll look a little bit worse. I would recommend turning on either DirectX 12 or DirectX 11. I use DirectX 12 personally just because I have a 1070. If you've got anything before that, then hey, just use DirectX 11. But if you have a 1070 or later, which you most likely do if you have a PC, then go ahead and turn on DirectX 12. If you're on console, none of this matters to you, but the settings that we're getting to in a second will actually matter. Now, the rest of these, just keep on whatever you have on default. Whatever's there, if it's working and allowing you to play Fortnite, it'll work for the live event. So hey, don't mess with your settings too much, solely due to the fact that you don't want to crash your thing during the live event. Now, in the next tab, this is literally just all your settings in game. Don't change anything over here, just leave it as it is. Now, for this one, HUD scale, leave it as it is. For the next one, yeah, this is your sensitivity. There's no reason you should be changing that. Obviously, it's, again, just settings. Now, the audio tab, this is where you're actually going to need to change some stuff. Now, personally, I keep the music turned off when I'm in the lobby, just because I don't love hearing all of this noise in the background when I'm actually just sitting in the lobby on a different tab. Say I'm tabbed out of the game and I'm just watching YouTube. I don't love to hear the music in game. But before your live event, you're going to want to make sure to turn your music up to 100%. You want to get that full experience out of the event, and that includes hearing the music from the event. So make sure that you have this turned on to 100% so that you can hear all of the sounds that are actually happening in game. Now, along with that, your sound effects, obviously keep those on. If you have any of these settings turned off, make sure that they are turned on to a sound where you can actually hear them. I would recommend 70% or higher, and just make sure that you have all of these different sounds on so that when the live event happens, you're actually hearing what's going on. Now, the next section you're also going to want to have turned on. This is subtitles. Now, this is under the sound section. And under here, you can actually change what your subtitles are going to be looking like during the live event. I would keep these turned on during the live event because it allows you to see exactly who is speaking. It will give you the name of who's talking, and along with that, it'll give you exactly what they're saying. So I would actually recommend keeping these turned on. Now, there's a ton of different settings you can actually change, and it shows you exactly what they'll look like in game. So make sure that you have these turned on to whatever settings you actually want to have on, and then you'll actually be able to get the full experience out of this live event. Now, for the rest of the settings, again, these are just stuff for your basic game. You're not going to need to change any of these unless for some reason you've unbound your jump key. You're going to want to rebind that setting. I don't know why I said that. It's kind of random, but let's move on to the lore section of the video now that we have the settings out of the way. So next up, we've got the lore, and for this part, I'm going to put it over some gameplay just so that you guys don't get too bored. But there's really not that much lore that you need to know going into this live event. So first off, the main character, the Cube Queen. She is basically a destroyer from another reality that is attempting to end all universes. It's a really weird motive because she just literally wants to kill everyone. So she's basically just trying to kill the island, get rid of the 0 point altogether, and just end this reality. Or at least that's all we know so far. Now, what we're going to be playing as is most likely the I.O. Now, the I.O. is the main agency on the map that is actually fighting against the Cube Queen, and we're trying to stop her from destroying all of reality. Now, throughout the live event, we're going to get help from a ton of different people, including but not limited to the Foundation, who's actually voice acted by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, which is a really cool little detail. And then there will most likely be a lot of people that we have seen throughout Chapter 2. And if you have not been up to date on the Chapter 2 lore, that's entirely fine. Literally, the only people that you will most likely need to know in this event are A, the Cube Queen, B, the I.O., and then C, we may see the return of Midas during this live event. Now, Midas was the main antagonist back in like Chapter 2, Season 2, and he is literally just Midas from the Greek myths. He literally just anything he touches will turn to gold, but he is kind of this head honcho. He's a supervillain. He tried to destroy the storm once before, so we may actually see him on the side of the Cube Queen, and maybe he's the one that gave her access to the island. That's just a little bit of theory crafting, though. Let's actually move on to our next character, who is in fact Agent Jonesy. Now, for those who don't know Agent Jonesy, he is a critical part to the Fortnite lore, and he's kind of been huge throughout all of it. He was a member of the I.O., but then he actually left after he realized that the I.O. is quite immoral, and they're basically keeping a bunch of people trapped in the loop, which is obviously the game of Fortnite, and they're not letting them out. They're just got them in a loop. They're infinitely fighting to the death to keep the 0 point contained. Now, the final thing that you're going to need to know now that you know all the characters is the 0 point. The 0 point is the biggest part of this live event, and it's the thing that runs the entire Fortnite island. Any of you guys who actually play Fortnite, though, probably already know that, so I'm not going to go too in-depth with this. But the 0 point is basically just the core of the island. It's what the Cube Queen is actually attempting to destroy, because if you destroy the 0 point, then you will also destroy the loop, and therefore will get kicked out of the loop, and the island will then be liberated from the I.O.'s control. So overall, during the event, we are probably going to be playing as the I.O., trying to stop the Cube Queen from actually taking over the map, and we're trying to stop the entire world and our entire reality from collapsing. But this is everything that you guys need to know before the Fortnite Chapter 2 live event. Everything that you guys need to do with your settings and all that good stuff. But if you guys actually did end up enjoying this video or finding it helpful, then please consider leaving a like on it and subscribing to the channel, as that would help me out a ton. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you guys in the next one.